in the IP for the 50 patients. For the 50 patients, I think they should only come from, they should be admitted in the psychiatric ward for detox. So somebody with a diagnosis of opioid use disorder, like this gentleman with the Spasmoproxone dependent, he is screened in the OP, he is admitted in the detox. So go to a detox, get admitted. He gets admitted for opioid use disorder. Now once the word goes around that there is a medication which takes complete care of withdrawals, then a lot of people will come to OPD. Right now people will not be coming to the OPD. Alcohol is coming. Opiates are not coming because they know that the treatment what they do is only dicyclamin or some painkillers and it's going to be suffering. I will not be sleeping, you know, I have to be forcefully staying there for 10 days. But the more word goes around, it's going to be a very comfortable stay. People will get a message and then they'll start pouring it. Okay. So you have to be admitted in psychiatry ward for detox. So this I'm saying, people, you see somebody with a Spasmoproxone dependence, he is using Spasmoproxone every day for 3 years, and then you say go to detox, he comes here. Similarly, he has to go through this exclusion-inclusion criteria. He signs a treatment contract, baseline assessment is completed. Day one, you make sure this is a day of induction, called induction. In induction, you do not be in a hurry to give Bipron. This induction, you wait. In this part of the baseline assessment, you will have this opioid withdrawal scale. And you look at the pupils. Combination of these two things should help you to know whether he is actually in opioid withdrawal. If he is actually in opioid withdrawal, only when the pupils are dilated, you give him the induction. Otherwise, you wait. If he is admitted in the ward, you can wait for, is there in the ward, it's better for you. Let him wait, let him go through withdrawal. You make sure that he is in withdrawal. You don't be in a hurry to start treatment. Anyway, normally you don't give him any treatment. So you wait till he develops withdrawal. At that time, you either give him 0.4 or 0.4 milligram. Hello? You are not too sure, give 0.2. You are very sure, 0.4. Wait, and then after 4 or 5, 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours, if he still has withdrawals, you can repeat it.
Sister, in your shop you have 0.2, 0.4.
Yeah.
4 and 2.
0.2 also is there.
0.2, 0.4 and 2 milligrams.
Very good. You
So
got
we can calculate.
very good. So you can give 0.2 or 0.4. Wait for 4 to 6 hours. If he has symptoms, repeat the dose. 4 to 6 hours. Let's say 4 hours. That's the minimum you have to wait. Okay? And then maximum, don't go more than 2 milligram. That's the maximum you can go. I don't think many people will require that. Maximum 2 milligram. First day, if you had no problem with the first dose, second day onwards you can be aggressive. I will 2 to 7 days. You work out the dose from 2 to 4 to 8 milligram. So you may be on a 1 to 2 milligram to 4 to 8 milligram. Depending on the patient, you can, that's the range you go to. From the second day onwards, you can increase it, 6th, 7th day. So, but then, this is the maintenance dose we talk about. So, see the protocol, what you are doing. This will be a withdrawal scale.
So Guruji,
Yes.
they also need that crusher, no? For the doing that.
So I have actually given here the initial dose is 0.4.
This will buy one.
But
The same
one
that
we
you
have
use.
is
Our local.
one.
It's on the cover, that kind. Anything
That's all go to the
that can do that work.
अच्छा अच्छा
It has to be powdered. Yeah, you have to crush it, no? And then,
this is titration should be done by us
yes, because it something
what you do is
that's what we do in Nepal and natural plus in Nepal also. Can give one dose, sir, can give one dose. Because many places when you don't flush properly, second when you do the program is old, so you'll see that they hold it.
Okay, just don't follow this. So this is actually what was originally, like written for heroin. This is written for heroin. Like just don't follow this. I'll just give this schedule to you today. I think you should follow this schedule. It's easier for you to follow this schedule. Can I write it separately?
10 minutes wait is because
You got the same thing, But
Opio 19
and then like around that 4 to 8 milligram will be the continuous maintenance dose until you do the follow-up. Okay. Let me work out the schedule on separately for you, so that like you don't become confused. Follow this. Somehow, I think when you're having come here and seen people are only taking Spasmo about 12, 14, 16. That's all they're taking. They're not taking, more than that. That's all they're taking. Most of them are taking Spasmo, which is a bigger opioid, and they are only consuming about 8, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30 maximum. That is maximum. But
That's why so now we are thinking that only those people who are severe, who are chronic, only we are going to start with this
Yeah.
OST.
Yes.
Others actually we can try for the
Exactly. Yeah. Only severe cases. Not everybody, Let's say do this.
like Mizoram, like Mizoram, no?
Yeah.
They also suddenly started injecting SP. And more than other problems, they were having problems with access. Here they mainly take only, no?
Yeah.
They were injecting.
Some they doing
filter based with human.
Mizoram had become the access capital. Big time.
See, day 1, start with 0.2 to 0.4 milligram sublingual buprenorphine when the patient is in withdrawal. Is that clear? How do you know he's in withdrawal? So, scale and people. Okay. And then after 4 hours, you ask the patient, you are observed. Or you can use the scale itself. Ask, observe, scale, people. Will tell you whether it's still suffering. Repeat the dose. So you can keep repeating dose because it's an inpatient. That gives an advantage to you. Okay. In an outpatient department, we can't do this. That's why the advantage of being in the hospital, you can repeat it. Repeat it to a maximum dose of 2, rare cases 4 milligram per first day. But try to make it only just 2 milligram. Don't be adventurous in the beginning. You learn and then you become stronger. Nothing will happen with buprenorphine. Once you get through this day 1, is easier. Once you get through this day 1, you are easier. No problems at all. Day 1 is the only one day you have to struggle with the patient to determine how to manage this one day, first day. Because they're starting very low, going a little slow to manage the person on the first day. Day 2 onwards, you'll be very comfortable. Day 2 dose, let's say it starts with 2 milligram, right? It can go up to 4 milligram on the second day. Day 3, day 4, 5, 6, 7. During this days, you go from 2 to 8 milligram. Anyway, it depends. See, how do you determine? If you give large dose, the fellow will become drowsy. If you give adequate dose, the fellow will be happy. So keep asking and figuring out. That when he becomes very drowsy, that means the dose is high. Then you can taper down the dose. When he is comfortable, that's a dose. When you give little less dose, he still says, I have pain, I have this, I have this, I have this. But at 7 days, a dose between 4 and this is 4. You know, you are really between 4 to 8 milligram. You are aiming for something between. If you give anything less than 4 milligram, he will go back and do it. Saturation would not occur. If you give around 4 to 8 milligram, most people will have saturation. You understand that? To be on the safer side, if you can tolerate the higher dose, you try it during the ward itself. If you can tolerate it to a higher dose, that's the dose you should keep it. 6 milligram he tolerates, 8 milligram he tolerates, keep it. Because that is the dose in which all opioid receptors will be saturated. You understand that? You try to be erring on the higher side. Keep it around 8 milligram. Around 8. At least I would say for a lot of SP users, about 6 milligram will be very important. Okay, you can give around 6 milligram, that will saturate a lot of their opioid receptors. Unless they are unable to tolerate it. They say, I feel very groggy. Then you'll have to reduce it. Otherwise, 6 to 8 milligram, fantastic dose, because that saturates. Your whole idea is not to. Withdrawal will stop even with 0.2 milligram. This boy, now we are seeing, I give him 0.2 milligram. After some time, he's going to feel very good. 0.4 milligram, great, no problem. I'm trying fine, he'll say. This is fine, this is enough for me. No, that is enough to control the withdrawal symptom. 4 milligram is required to control the craving. Around upwards of 4 up to 8 milligram is required to saturate. You see the dose difference? 0.4 milligram up to 0.4 milligram is a withdrawal treatment. Right? Less than 4 milligram, around 4 milligram is anti-craving. 4 to 8 milligram is actually the one which leads to saturation, which means he will not take further opioids. You get that? This is the logic. See, I don't want you to think this is Bible, that we have to follow this. I think you will be the expert, he will be the expert, she will be the expert. But first day you be careful. First day you be careful. The starting dose you be careful. Don't give a large dose to begin with. Don't give a 4 milligram straight away. Because straight away you give a 4 milligram, particularly when he is not in withdrawal. That will be a really, really bad thing for him. He will have severe withdrawal. You understand what I'm trying to say? So you do this logic, that's it. You are understanding?
Yes.
Yeah. So that I think will be on a higher side. Because the protocol, because they are thinking it's all heroin. It's not heroin here, it's all Proximon here. Rarely you get Proximon, heroin here, right? It's not here, thankfully. Thank God, like heroin is not here.
So what if, like, sir, if they are using SP along with the N10,
No, see,
it's just
this only treats spasmoproximon. It does not treat the benzodiazepine dependence. So,
we don't include them in our study.
in fact, I would think that you should try to restrict it to a guy like this, who's purely on spasmoproximon, rather than having a complicated case. But if he's taking, like 20 milligram nitrazepam in addition, is fine. 30 milligram nitrazepam is fine. If he's taking, 200 milligram of nitrazepam, because nitrazepam itself will produce withdrawals. You understand that? See, depending on how much of see, suppose I'm taking spasmoproximon. I'll give you examples. I take spasmoproximon. Nobody will only take spasmoproximon.
Yes.
That you will not guide anybody in the world. Okay, you take spasmoproximon, in addition you'll take alcohol, in addition you'll take nitrogen, in addition you'll take diazepam. This will happen. But you also ask them, why do they take it? Because they don't have enough money to buy, because 8 tablets are costing 250 rupees. If they are taking about 12, that they require about 375 rupees. That's a large amount of money for a person to spend every day. So some days they run out of money, they'll only take 4, 125 rupees 4. In addition, top it up with alcohol, top it up with nitrazepam. That's what they are doing. right? It's not enough, so I'm additionally adding something else. So what you need to do, their priority drug is what? Speciprofloxacin. So you can still treat them with buprenorphine. How do I manage the alcohol and nitrosamine part of it? Most of the time, if it is a lesser quantity, doesn't require a separate treatment. If it is a larger quantity, that means they are not only going to go through opioid withdrawal, they'll also go through alcohol withdrawal or a benzodiazepine withdrawal. There, you'll have to provide withdrawal treatment. You have to give a diazepam like an alcohol withdrawal. You have to give a diazepam like a nitrosamine withdrawal. You have to give an additional diazepam. Additional to buprenorphine, you have to give diazepam like you treat alcohol, like you treat nitrosamine. The problem is, in the research case, it will get complicated. So, as far as the research case is concerned, try to take people who don't take large quantities of alcohol, large quantities of nitrosamine, or in other words, who are not dependent on benzodiazepine, who are not dependent on alcohol in addition to opioids. You get that? You get that? See, they can take alcohol, they can take nitrosamine, but should not be a large quantity. You understand what I'm trying to say? This is what you will do.
Sir, few questions, sir. One is we have to start with either 0.2 or 0.4. No? What will happen, sir, if you start with 4 or 6? Apart from sedation, will there be any effect?
What about how much of those?
4 or 6.
4 or 6. That means, since you said that this buprenorphine is not dangerous in the sense that it will not kill.
Yeah.
Now, if you start at the maximum dose,
Yeah.
and
The problem is, you really don't know, because you're not doing an analysis of the brain. You really don't know how much of opioids is still sitting in his brain. Let's say this. It's the brain, right? The time of coming in the opioid receptors, there could be still some opioids that he has used still sitting in the brain, right? Even though he's come for withdrawal, he's having withdrawal. The withdrawal can be relative. Even some opioids go from the system also, it starts withdrawing. But that doesn't mean that the brain is empty of opioids. Still has some opioids. So you introduce a partial agonist like buprenorphine, immediately, because partial agonist will replace any other opioid in the system. It will replace immediately all the opioids that are already there. So the moment you introduce a large quantity, he will have severe withdrawal to begin with. You understand that? So you really want to make sure that he's in withdrawal. The only way you will know is starting dose, not the starting dose initial day. Initial day dose can be ending up with 4 milligram also sometimes. You can start the first day itself, you can give up to 4 milligram. But you don't start up with 4 milligram. You start up with a 0.4 milligram. With the boy, you are here. You are relatively sure he has been here for 3 days. But still, like he's in withdrawal. You can start him with 0.4 milligram. Nothing is going to happen. But what happens? You are not too sure. So that's why should we be adventurous in a hospital? In a ward, you should be adventurous. You 0.4 milligram, after 4 hours you repeat it, after 4 hours you repeat it, go up to 4 milligram or go up to 2 milligram, doesn't matter to me. Over a period of 24 hours. You understand that? So you can top it up. You can increase it after that. The first dose you give 0.4 milligram. After that, next dose you can give 0.8 milligram within severe withdrawal. Doesn't matter. You will learn over a period of experience. See, no, I cannot give you a template and say this is what will happen. See, alcohol I cannot teach them because they no. I know I have 10 milligram, I can reduce it. They play with that, right? Diazepam. Like that they play with that. But the first dose alone don't play with it. First dose, not the first day's dose. First time dose. First time dose is comfortable, for sure he's comfortable. That means he's really in withdrawal. First time it's really a little uncomfortable, oh my God. Maybe he's still there, I've been a little bit. But it's rather easy to give a 0.2, 0.4 milligram rather than giving 4 milligram and praying with them. Right? It will be severe withdrawal. You got it?
So, do we just keep them on buprenorphine or we add because...
Nothing else is required. If it is purely SP user, nothing else is required.
Purely or primarily, no, sir?
Yeah, purely or primarily. Yeah, right.
Basically, first day will be frequent monitoring after every 4 hours.
Not monitoring, just ask him come back after 2 to 3 or 4 hours, 2 to 4 hours and ask them, if he's very restless, he'll come back afterwards. Madam, please, I'm really suffering. He's really suffering. You know what is opioid withdrawal like. Then you can give him a little more dose.
But we do the baseline assessment only once, and then
Yes.
after 4 hours we just
No, no,
it's an objective assessment.
What would be the next big game in dose?
The first dose you introduce, you know, is
Sir, I mean, like, when it comes to the dosing, because normally, I mean, we have the medical counselor here who is, only doctors are allowed to prescribe. So here, I mean, because it has to be done every now and then after every 4 hours, the patient is taking drugs, we need to increase the dose. For that, I mean, as per our council's regulations, a doctor has to prescribe.
no, no. What you should do is get the doctor's prescription like this. Get the doctor prescription as 2 milligram, 4 milligram, 4 milligram, 8 milligram, like that. You get it. So you can actually give less dose.
No,
But
sir,
we
we
give
can
what-
actually make a chart, sir, saying, ask the nurse to do it every 4 hours, and depending upon the score, if the score is
The
less
score
than...
and all is not necessary. They can't be. You can just say assessment. Now can we
We
just?
need more, I mean, flow chart kind of thing,
Yeah.
or maybe a, I don't know.
So can you not have
initial
that?
prescription from the doctor.
Can you not have the doctor prescribe like this?
Because I have my version.
Can you not have the doctor prescribe like this? Can I put writing? Can I put something like this so the doctor can prescribe like this? Is it possible for the doctor to, on the day of admission, you can put a form like this?
This is presented well to the stakeholders.
Sir, prescribe any.
Okay. Patient's name. Age. Sex. Okay. And then
And at least it gives us some thought, like mentality. Otherwise, if something happens to the poor patient comes and will question us, why did you prescribe? We're not allowed to prescribe.
One more thing that happens is that you are reaching the
see,
optimum dose.
this will
Yeah.
satisfy everybody.
Okay.
So one signature here in all possible ranges are possible. So I've given the lowest possible on that day, highest possible on that day. That should be fine. Can I write 4? Should I? I'm lazy, like such a lazy person. Can't even write this.
So this is suggestive, no?
Yeah,
This is suggestive.
Yes, yes.
suggestive. That's what. But that's why I give the range.
So we need to like.
No, this is for the nurse to have that manipulation.
Yes.
Because otherwise nurse will not have that, but why did you go more than that, So she's already given the range to work on.
And maybe, sir, at the end we can say inform doctor SOS if needed, or something like that. Inform doctor SOS
Yes.
if needed, something like that. Then,
Emergency. As and when required. I SOS use and charge. SOS and full one. Only SOS to charge. As and when required. Medical issue.
Yeah. Something like that, no?
This will protect us.
Yeah, everybody.
Then I think we'll get the print of this in the flannel,
Yeah.
then we'll distribute to the hospital.
If somebody is wanting less, you can even, you can see some other people will say, I cannot tolerate even 4 milligram. There could be some people, SP users, if you are taking some SP user, only taking few tablets of SP, probably, you can even make it this. So that, why should I not, some people cannot tolerate more than 2 milligram. Then you can even, but this range will give you everything. We are aiming for 8 milligram. Please remember, the greater you are aiming, better for you. The lower you are, success is not going to be there. The higher you are, if the patient is able to tolerate a higher dose, please give the higher dose. Because the higher dose is the one which will protect him when he goes out. Don't look for withdrawal as a criteria. Don't look for withdrawal in the ward can be even with this rate, withdrawal will be easily controlled. We are only a detox ward, this is enough. But it's not detox, this is maintenance. You want to maintain him out of this drug.
Sir, since now we are talking about this saturation
Yeah.
of the receptors, and now at the time of discharge, do you recommend a minimum dose that has to be prescribed to the patient?
I would say 4 to 8 milligram. Aim for 4 to 8
So
milligram.
minimum should be 4, sir.
At the time of discharge, 4 to 8. What happens if fellow is not able to tolerate? That's the whole problem, you know. See, all said and done, we cannot fix the dose ranges for people often because there will be candidates. I've seen a guy come back, doctor, anesthetist, comes and says, you cannot give me 4 milligram and not able to work in that ward. I'm so damn drowsy with 2 milligram and more than 2.5 milligram. What do you do with that guy? You have to give that. I don't know whether it's still cheating because he knows he's an anesthetist. He's playing with me or not. But he comes and grills me and says, I'm very drowsy. And all the time he'll be like this. And how do you expect me to go to a ward like this? So I have to cut down on the dose. I don't know whether he has any other plan in his head, but you cannot figure out. So I have to really, you know, like respect, because these are right violations, you know. And that's why I'm saying you put it as, but your aim of treatment must be 4 to 8 milligram.
Sir, I just want to say one thing. You know,
Just can you this one alone you just can photocopy it, no please for everything. You know.
being recorded.
This one alone you photography, no? Photograph. This is the final one. This is the final one, you know, like you keep it like this because it will give you a lot of flexibility. This kind of things will give you a flexibility to work on, protect you in every possible way.
What happens like if patients after discharge and they don't turn up for the dose? What happens? How do we follow up?
That I think is a very important. That is why your intake counseling is so important. You motivate them. Largely what will happen, no? If they've seen a benefit, they'll come back to you. They don't want to spend the 325 rupees.
But if there is any
This is one thing where patients will come back to you. But disulfiram patients will not come back. But this they will come back. Because disulfiram is against him. This is for him. Because it's better than taking Spasmoproximon. No money is involved and then they are comfortable.
because of some other circumstances.
Yeah, that I
If
think.
If they are like lost to follow, do we still count them in the pilot study as, or we
You
say
know,
it's lost
there
to
are
follow?
certain protocol things we are given. It's going to be a challenge, you know. If they miss the dose for a week, they have to start all over again.
Oh, sister, just one second, sir.
We cannot give him the same dose we are given. Because 1 week you would have gone back, stopped everything, gone back to Spasmoproximon.
So they need to come in as inpatient and
Again.
restart.
Yeah, that's the whole problem.
But if they don't at all come, even if we
We just have to drop them off from that study.
so we take another increase
Yes,
of
yes, yes. You're right. Absolutely.
And in your induction, sister, what happened was we had sites in different places, no, in India. So some sites were in Northeast where there are insurgency kind of situations. So clients, when you're selecting clients, make sure that they are ones who can regularly be on the program by vicinity and geography and all those things.
So this is the prescription I want you to use. Because with this, if you use this prescription, not the one in the protocol, if you use this prescription, nobody will be in trouble. Because this for SP, I'm telling you, this is be the best protocol. Because you can go to the lower range, you can go to the higher range. Try to work towards this range, not that range. Go towards this right side, rather than the left side. As all of you, you try to. But you get a signature from the doctor, whether people should come and say, why did you not give 4 milligram? I wrote you 4 milligram. Why are you giving 2.4 milligram? They might sometimes come and ask. That is why I put you on a protective dose of 2 milligram. This is not that this dose is the right dose. This is the dose for the first day, second day. Actually, you are more towards this dose.
Sir, regarding that, now if once we have selected a patient for that pilot project, sir, whether he leaves the course or not, I think we cannot actually include another one, sir, because basically that is our finding.
Failure, that's a failure.
Yes.
No, what he's saying is another candidate will not replace this person.
Yes.
This candidate is called as a dropout.
Yeah, so that means in the result we have to say
Yeah.
out of the 50 that much have dropped out, and the reasons
Exactly.
may have to give one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because
after that 50, like we record the ones who are like drop out or lost to follow up
Yes.
also, but we don't recruit new
No,
ones.
you cannot. Because see, the thing is, in the beginning itself, you don't try to, that's why Kunal was telling very clearly, Do not take patients who are not from Thimphu. Do not take patients who are not from Thimphu. Take people who are from, like from somebody coming from some, other Zonggang, like you can't ask them because they will not come back to you. That's why I asked them. When he said I'm from Thimphu, I'm working in a security here. That's the right kind of candidate. The boy who's there is the right kind of candidate. You can't take somebody who's not from Thimphu, because they will not come back to you. Because they are 1 year, they have to come back every day.
And here, sister, you have to also plan for Saturday, Sunday.
We have no plan.
Yes, Sunday, Saturday we are on.
It is here no problem.
Professor, just a plain question. Your experience, how long did you have to keep on giving in this kind of treatment?
As long as they want.
But
That's my favorite answer. As long as the client wants.
no, but what was your?
If somebody is on treatment for about, on Northeast experience, I'll tell you about Northeast experience. That's very close to this. They are the SP users. After 1 or 2 years of treatment, a lot of them go for absence-oriented treatment, and they really, really stay out.
Oh, that's a good.
But it's always their decision, TG.
Yeah, not we don't force them.
No.
After 1 or 2 years, these guys come and tell you, listen, you know what has happened in 1 or 2 years, doctor? My wife has come back and started living with me. My child is back in school. I'm in a steady job. My health has improved tremendously. You know what? I'm thinking about it differently. I'm going to, Bible classes regularly. And I'm a stable guy. I'm like anybody else. Now is the time I want to even kick this. Only trouble is I have to come and collect the medicine every day, That half an hour is a difficult thing for me. I cannot travel and come here. So can you help me? Then they go for detox. No problems. They just stay comfortably, go back, leave everything.
So you have to be detoxed even after.
I mean, some of them detox, some of them tap it down the dose.
Oh.
We do it accordingly.
Oh. So that's a good thing to know.
2 years it takes for a person to get some stability. A lot of these people, like Hopert's kind of boys who are really poor and this, they just have to. Hopert's fails only. Hopert's fails. Hopert's fails because they're all on 2 milligram dose.
Yes.
Whereas they should be on 8 milligram. Because the drug users are very judgmental. Because they don't understand this concept I gave you. Small dose, withdrawal. Moderate dose, anti-craving. Large dose, saturation. This I am not able to make the drug user community understand. Because what is this large dose? Large dose means they get a kick. For them dose is kick. Large dose is more kick. So why do you want to give something more kick? You take 2 pegs of whiskey, that is better, or half a bottle of whiskey is better. What are you talking, doctor? That kind of analogy they say. Here it is different. Buprenorphine is not kick drug. This is only given to saturate the opioid receptors. That part of it they don't understand. So that's why we are insisting on a higher dose at the end of 7 days. By the time he goes to 7 days, if he's on a large dose, but if they cannot tolerate, you can't do anything about it. Listen. So my opinion, SP users, around 6 milligram. A lot of people will be able to. 20 tablets, 30 tablets, people will take about 6 milligram.
Patients can also carry a register where we can
Except for
record.
the first.
When they come to get the
When they are
list,
probing,
maybe we can record in the register.
Yeah.
They will also feel
Yes.
it's kind of a reminder.
Yes.
So other thing is now, we included in our criteria how long that person should be using this opioid or SP, so that it can be included. 1 month or 2 months of abuse, or maybe 1 year or 2 years. That means a duration of abuse by the client.
They really don't matter.
From NCB to
Severity is dependent on duration and frequency. The severity will tell you how much they can tolerate the dose. From them, people are tolerating 4 milligram, 8 milligram comfortably, that. They are the severe users. People are used only for 6 months. The moment you put them on 4 milligram, they say, my God, this is much more, difficult for me to manage, I'm not able to tolerate you. So opioid tolerant, everybody cannot tolerate opiates, The only opioid tolerant people are different. Opioid use disorder people only can tolerate opioids. You and I take 2 milligram buprenorphine, you will not get up for 2 days. Right? Don't try it, I'm just saying. Not everybody can take opioids. You get what I'm trying to say? This will be the dose. And try to aim for a higher dose if the person gets tolerated.